Pumpkin Eulogy by Mina Patel. Synopsis. In this coming-of-age story, 10-year-old Sabrina rages against Kim, a mean girl who destroyed her pumpkin on Halloween. Genre: coming-of-age dramedy. Length: 1,050 words. I dreaded the Halloween costume party at school. Each kid paraded up to the front of the class like a pageant contestant. It was easy to see what their home life was like by the type of costumes they wore. There were essentially three types of parents: the obsessive parents who crafted elaborate original costumes for their children, the lazy parents who bought boxed superheroes, witches, or princesses from Target. My family was in the third, no need to waste money category. "Tell me, why do you go door to door asking for candy?" my father asked. "Because it's fun!" I wanted to scream, but it wouldn't have made a difference. I suppose I could have told him the story that Brian O'Malley told our class when no one could figure out his weird costume. He was dressed as Stingy Jack, the Irish blacksmith who outwitted the devil by carving out a turnip and putting a candle in it. He said his grandfather told him the tradition began in Ireland. We looked at each other in confusion because we could barely understand him. His outlandish costume was so cumbersome he could barely move. Every house in our neighborhood proudly displayed carved pumpkins on their front steps. At school, I won a pumpkin for being the best hall monitor for the month of October and was excited to finally carve my very own pumpkin and display it on our front steps like everyone else. While my mother was washing dishes, I sneaked a small knife from the kitchen and headed for the garage. My two younger siblings followed like ducklings. I tried to cut the top with the knife, but it wasn't sharp enough for the hard skin of the pumpkin. Exhausted, I took a break and scanned the garage. "Give me the hammer," I said to my brother. I grabbed the hammer from him and hit the knife into the pumpkin like a sculptor. My brother and sister shrieked with a mix of delight and horror as blood drops from small cuts on my fingers smeared the pumpkin. I continued until I was able to scoop out the stringy pulp and seeds. I then cut 2 vertical slits for the eyes and a longer horizontal crevasse for the toothless mouth. The blood-stained pumpkin looked listless. "It looks like it was beat up," my brother said. So I put a Band-Aid above the left eye. "Good enough," I declared. "Let's go. We're already late." With white plastic garbage bags turned into Casper the Friendly Ghost costumes, the three of us sneaked past my father, who was taking a nap on the sofa that was encased completely in plastic, like a mummy. We went from house to house with other kids who were dressed as superheroes or TV characters. One girl was dressed as Jan Brady. The plastic from my costume started to rip in the back, but I didn't care. As far as I was concerned, Halloween was all about the candy. By the time we got home with our bag bursting with candy, it was so dark that I almost didn't notice my smashed pumpkin. It lay like a deflated gourd, mocking my first attempt to be part of the neighborhood Halloween tradition. Holding back tears, I went to bed angry and confused. The next day, on the school bus ride home, Kim walked past my seat with a smirk on her face. "Hey, Casper, how's your pumpkin?" she asked as she glided by like Miss America on a runway. The kids on the bus burst out in laughter. I struggled to hold back my tears. I turned around and saw how much she enjoyed the attention and admiration. Meanwhile, I was ready to explode. My hands clenched into fists. My jaw tightened as I inhaled long puffs of air through my flared nostrils. As soon as she stepped off the bus, I was right behind her. I stood there a moment sweating, even though it was chilly outside. She said bye to her friends and turned to walk towards her house. I dropped my backpack on the sidewalk and tackled her from behind. She screamed as she landed on her hands and knees. Hearing the commotion, the kids came running back. "A fight! A fight!" they chanted, encircling us Lord of the Flies style. Kim scrambled to get up, but kept slipping on the grass that was still wet from the morning dew. I stood beside her and kicked her hard from the side, and she toppled over on her back. Within a few seconds, she pushed me off and tried to pin me down, but I held on tightly to her body. We rolled like wrestlers back and forth on the grass until I loosened my right hand and grabbed her long blonde hair. Her neck tilted back as she screamed in pain. She released her grip to cover her head, but it was too late. I already had clumps of her hair, and I pulled hard with both hands. Gobs of long, silky blonde hair flew over the dark green glass. She was crying now. "My hair! My hair!" I got up, startled by my own strength, and started to walk home. "Ha! You're going to be bald!" one boy shouted. Other kids began chanting, "Baldy, Baldy, Baldy." Embarrassed, Kim grabbed her things and ran past me towards her mother, who was wearing nothing but a torn, dirty t-shirt and underwear. She was sitting on the grass in front of their house, muttering to herself. Her hair was a tangled, matted mess that obscured her emaciated face. "Mom, what are you doing outside? Where is Aunt Ruth?" Kim whispered delicately. "Let's go inside." As she helped her mother up, she looked up and saw me. Our eyes locked for a moment before she turned back to help her mother. I went home, picked up the remains of my pumpkin, and threw it in the garbage behind the alley.